I know I'm a few minutes early, but I figured I'd pop on. I was ready to go because I always have to get something situated, right? Hello, welcome to the first live stream in Soul Aligned Self Care. So, sorry about the switcheroo on the name. I just, like I said earlier when I talked about this, I didn't want to have to be working on Sundays. It was like a day that I kind of feel like it always feels like a day off to me, even though I could make my own hours and do like my own thing. I like having off on Sundays, so it never felt great to do the lives on Sunday. So I wanted it to feel better, and I wanted to show up better. So that's why I decided to rename this. It's the same name as my podcast, it's the same name as my book club, and it's the same name as my YouTube channel. So if you don't follow me in all those places, be sure to check that out. I usually cover the same topic. It could be a little bit different. It really just matters. What matters is how you like to listen. Do you like to watch the video? Do you like to read the blog? Or do you like to listen to the podcast? It's always going to be different because I just kind of do it live. I always have my notes with me, but I kind of just like run off from the notes. And as you guys know, I babble sometimes. So that's why I keep the notes next to me. So, welcome to Soul Line Self Care. It's the same group, it's going to be the same content. I don't post a lot in here. I might post a little bit more. I would love to get a little more activity from the people and get more involved. So, at the beginning of the week, I think on Mondays, I think I posted it on Tuesday, but I want to start doing it on Mondays where I give you guys kind of like a journal prompt. That is kind of my thing. I use it a lot in my work. And so, like, just starting off the week, right, with a positive journal prompt that gets the juices flowing on how you can have a really great week and take care of yourself and do everything that's aligned with you to, like, move forward, move towards your dreams, but still, like, take care of yourself and avoid the stress, the overwhelm, and the burnout, right? We always want to avoid that. So I'm going to be doing that in this group. I'm always going to be doing the live, probably almost always on Wednesdays. The only time I'll skip that maybe is if I am going to be on vacation. But I also might just pre record it ahead of time. I'm not sure. I'll decide when that pops up. I am going to be going away next month for a very short period of time, but it is going to fall, I believe, on a Wednesday. I think I might be traveling on a Wednesday, so maybe I'll just do it a different day in the week. Um, Today we are continuing on with the Get Unstuck series. I do believe this is like the third part of the series, but like I said before, you don't have to watch all of them in an order or anything. They all stand alone. You could they can feed off of each other and like move into each other, but they can also stand alone. Like you can get something out of it if you just pop on and you watch this one live. So I'm not numbering them because I don't want you to feel that way. I'm getting like all kinds of hurricane notifications. I don't know why. Probably just like I think I get Weather Channel notifications. I hope anybody that lives in Florida right now is doing well. I'll have to like check in and see how all my Florida people are. So this week on the Get Unstuck series, we are going to be talking about how to dream big, find your dreams, really like starting to like reconnect with yourself and find your dreams, your passions, and your purpose. So when you're feeling stuck, you're obviously not in that state where you feel connected to your dreams. So that's what this one is about. I don't want to really start yet because it's a little early. So I'm just going to talk about a few other things. October, that's going to be Aligned and Worthy month, which is Aligned and Worthy is my signature program that I do. I call it the Soul Aligned Self Care Boot Camp, and it's exactly what it says it is. It teaches you how to start using soul aligned, deep level self care practices daily so that you can have success in your personal and professional life, all while not feeling stressed out, burnt out, or overwhelmed. So it's about performing at a high level, especially if you're a really driven person, but learning these deep level self care practices, these mindset shifts that you might need, will really help you do all these things without the stress, burnout, and overwhelm, and in less time. So learning these practices saves you time and it creates a lot of space for you. So that's what I teach in that course. It's a year-round course. It has 11 lessons has 11 lessons right now. There's probably going to be a 12th one. I just added 11 and it's still just the live stream that I had. I did it live and I'm going to be creating a more structured lesson for 11. But the reason why I call it a year-round course is because once you purchase it and once you join the boot camp, you have lifetime access. You are a lifetime member of Aligned and Worthy, the Soul Aligned Self-Care Boot Camp. So you have lifetime access, and I coach monthly. Okay, so you'll always have me all year round coaching you on these topics all year round. You can ask questions, anything. So it's once a month. I go live in the group and I coach on a topic and I answer any questions that are submitted. So that's why I call it the year-round program, because once you have it, you have lifetime access. You have lifetime access also to all the updates and things that I add to it, and you have lifetime access to the coaching. As long as I'm here, you have access to the coaching. So October is Aligned and Worthy month. I'm going to be promoting the boot camp and talking about it a lot. I'll talk about it a little more towards the end of this live stream. It's a really, really good deal right now. I have not raised the price on the program since I added the live coaching. I do plan on raising the price for the launch in February 2023. But right now I'm selling it at the same price it was. I'm sorry, let me get rid of these alerts on my notes. I'm selling it for the same price that it was, but I added a lot of value, a lot of coaching to it. And the reason why I added the coaching was because I wanted to really connect with the people that were in the program. And I also want to be able to make sure that they have success with these practices. I didn't want to just make this online program and throw it at the people and then walk away. I really feel like there needs to be coaching on a lot of these topics because there's a lot of big topics. So you'll hear more about that as we go through October and at the end of the Get Unstuck series. So let's see, what time is it? It's 12 o'clock. It's exactly 12 o'clock. Also, like I said at the beginning, if you haven't checked out the podcast, definitely check it out. Give me a testimonial if you feel aligned with that. And also check out my YouTube channel, which is, I believe it might be under Tina Stinson, but I also call it Soul Aligned Self-Care, just like this group. I'm going to get started. I'm going to look at my notes here. They're blocking the screen. All right, so like I said earlier, today we're talking about kind of reconnecting. Some people are they know what their dreams are, and that's great. And if you do, that's fantastic. But if you're in a place where you're feeling stuck, that's why we're calling this the Get Unstuck series. This is for people who are feeling a little stuck, maybe uninspired, and you're looking for that purpose. You're looking to live more purposeful. You might be feeling like you wake up in the morning, you're not inspired, you don't feel like you have a purpose, So that's what this is for. And this specific topic that I'm talking about today is kind of reconnecting with your dreams, your passions, and that purpose, that feeling of purpose. You want to wake up and feel like you have a purpose in your day, right? And you create that for yourself. So a lot of times when we become stuck, the reason we become stuck is because we're so busy, and especially as we move into adulthood from our teen years into adulthood, and then as parents, sometimes, not all of us are parents, or distracted by our careers and stuff like that, we get into, I call it the hamster wheel. We jump on this hamster wheel where we're constantly we're doing, and then we're not really tuning back into ourselves and saying, what am I doing for myself? I'm busy making this person happy, this person happy, this person happy. I'm doing this at work, this at work, this at work. I'm doing this for my kids. I'm doing this for my spouse, my significant other. What am I doing for me? And I think it's a real shame. It's almost like a crime that as people, this is men and women, we're taught that putting ourselves first and taking care of ourselves is kind of like selfish. Like people, it's like an honor. Like people wear like hard work and exhaustion as like a badge of honor, and it should be the opposite, because when you take care of yourself and you really put yourself first, then you can bring that best version of yourself into the world and give that to all the people around you. Give that best version of yourself to your kids, your partner, whoever, like your job, if you have a job, your business, if you have a business. So you can put your best self into the world. And then when you're running yourself ragged and you're on that hamster wheel and you're not paying any attention to anything, like how you feel, how stressed out you are, how overwhelmed you are, how burnt out you're getting, then you start to like lose that connection with yourself. Like, who am I? What do I love? What do I do for fun? And it's not, it's a shame that it's not socially acceptable really to take care of yourself first. People will actually call you selfish, like it's some kind of a, like I said, an honor. Especially a lot of times with women, we get the burden. It's not necessarily a burden, I shouldn't say it that way, but a lot of times a lot of the work that comes from the household and the kids, the children, and I know not everybody has kids, but the households and the children sometimes, um, gets put on the backs of the women more so than the men. Now, that is shifting a tiny bit, but um, for the most part, we have women that are working full time, taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, and it's a lot. It's a little bit overwhelming. And my purpose, I believe what my purpose is to really help people reconnect with themselves and like step into, like, get to know, why am I here? What is my purpose? What brings me joy? How can I step into that and bring that magic into the world and share it with everybody else? And that's my purpose, that's my passion. And then like reach for those dreams, like those big dreams that I didn't think I could have, reach for those dreams. So um I was really stuck. Like, I'm going to just kind of share with you, when I was in my 30s through like my 40s, like the tail end of my 30s into my 40s. I went through a really rough divorce, very stressful. I have three wonderful kids that are adults now. Thank the gods for that. And I was working like a very high stress sales position, 100% commission. And I was doing too much. So I had a stroke when I was 39, and it was caused by stress. And I had to really reevaluate my life. And I was completely lost. I was disconnected with myself. I was so disconnected with myself that I couldn't even tell when I was tired and when I needed to rest. Like, my body would start shaking, and that's how I would know I was tired. It wasn't like I physically said to myself, "Oh, I'm tired." I would just start shaking, and I'd be like, "What's going on? Why am I shaking?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I think maybe I'm tired." Like, I was so disconnected with myself. Um, I I put everything else first. I never like really put myself first. And so like I slowly changed that over the years and got myself unstuck. And some of these things are what worked for me. And one of the things that really, really worked was because I had to think, when was the last time I felt connected to myself? When was the last time that I felt truly inspired and unstoppable? Like, when was the last time that I felt that way? And the last time I remembered really feeling that way was when I was a kid, like 8, 10 years old. Like, and I know that might sound kind of sad, but I went right from high school into working. I did not go to college. I had a good job at the time. I was working in accounting, and I loved my job, and I didn't really want to go to college, so I just was doing that thing. But I was on my own at like 17, doing the work thing, hustling kind of. And then in my 20s were very stressful, and then I got married in my 30s, but everything was like very stressful, and I just lost that connection with myself. So the last time I really remember feeling really good was when I was a kid. And so I had to go back to that. Um, I mean, I was so stuck. I was at the point where I wouldn't even allow myself to dream anymore. I wouldn't even allow myself to think I was allowed to have any type of like passion. I really felt like, why bother? Like, I just felt so beaten down. I was definitely beaten down. Um, and when I looked at that kid, when I was a kid, I was so like, I was such a badass. I always felt happy, and I would wake up inspired and excited for the day. And I thought to myself, I really need to feel that way again. And I really feel like everybody should feel that way, like all the time. And I mean, I know some people are probably saying, well, Tina, grow up. That's not how life is. Um, but is that true? Like, who made that rule? Like, who says that can't be great? Who brings that rule into existence? The fact that you like grow up, you can't be happy all the time. Who brings that rule into existence? Because the only person I see that brings that rule into existence really is you, for yourself. Like there's no dream police saying, no, that dream's too big. Maybe you have some haters out there, some family members or friends that don't really support you. And if that's the case, those are the type of people, like I talked about, I think last week, those soul sucking energy vampires that you need to kind of like move away from a little bit. There's no like there's no policeman, there's no dream police, there's no fun police saying that, oh my God, you're having too much fun and you're not working hard enough, right? Isn't that what we tell ourselves? Like, the only way that I'm going to be happy and be accepted into like society is if I work hard. Then I deserve to be happy. Then I deserve some kind of a reward for something that I'm doing, right? That's kind of like the belief system. Well, the only one telling you this, besides society, um, but society's rules are bullshit rules. Think about who makes up those rules. Like, it's just like this general population of people who want to, I don't know, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but like just remain small and comfortable. Like, yeah, you're not allowed to dream big, because who are you to ask for something like that? Who are you to go after that? Who are you? And I've had people say that to me before, people in my family. Like, I've had people in my family laugh at me, for some of the things that I'm doing now. You know what I mean? So, like, I know that this is true. Um, so unless you really like, like I said, it's not like, you know, socially acceptable to like stray away from the norm and chase after your big huge dreams. So, but unless you really care what everybody on social media thinks of you, and if you do, that's like a whole nother episode. Like, you should just not give a shit. You should be comfortable with being yourself 100% of the time, and moving towards your crazy, wonderful, big, huge, crazy, like dreams all the time. Like, what else is the point of life if you're not gonna like really dream big and do what you want to do and have fun? So, what else is the point? So, where do you start? As lost as I was, I had to like kind of try to find that connection with myself. And I remember that feeling that I had. Um, I felt like I could rule the world. I really did. Like, I was a piece of work. Um, just tuning into that feeling, like, I don't want to rule the world, but tuning into that feeling that I had, that excitement, that inspiration, that that feeling of being unstoppable, not being crushed. Like when we're kids, everybody encourages us, right? When does that stop? Do we like hit a certain age? Or is it like, when we turn to be teenagers and we care so much about what everybody thinks and we're so insecure? When does that stop? Not right. So tuning into that feeling, like, how can I grab that feeling? And like meditating into that, and like bringing that into my life, journaling out, like using your journal and journaling out how you remember thinking, like, what did I think and feel like when I woke up in the morning? Like, where was my head? Like, was I thinking about, oh, I gotta get this done, oh, I gotta, my mom told me I had to put my laundry away, or like, I always had chores as a kid. I don't know about you, but we had chores. um But I was never like in the state of stress and overwhelm. I was always more like inspired. The things that kind of took up most of the time in my life were fun things. And then as we move into adulthood, and I know what you're saying, you're like, well, we have responsibilities. We have these responsibilities. Well, we could kind of like tune our lives into being responsible, doing the things that we love, right? We could either like combine the things we love as our purpose, our passion, our career, the way we make money, or, and I know plenty of people who do this also, they have this job, but this job is the type of job where they can just kind of like leave it there and they come home and they work on their passions when they're at home, like whether that be working for a charity or um, like some kind of a rescue or a side hustle or a business that they have that they're working on, or maybe they're writing a book, like whatever that passion might be. But the majority of your time should be focused on things that bring you joy. That's what life is. It's not about working for 20 years, working your ass off for 20 years, retiring when you're old and because you've been so stressed out and overwhelmed for this whole time, like retiring and hoping that you're well enough to have fun then. No, you're supposed to like have fun all the time. I mean, I'm not telling you to fuck off and not work, at all. I'm telling you to like learn how to either combine that or do both, but the majority of your time you should be enjoying yourself, right? There should be some enjoyment to like the overall theme of the day should be happiness, okay? So, so of course I have an exercise for you guys, all right? So let me just catch my notes up because I was babbling there for a minute. And yeah, it does involve journaling. It's always going to involve journaling with me. If you hate journaling, you probably, I mean, you could think through this, but journaling is so powerful. You're writing it down, you're really giving your brain direction on what to think about, where to focus your attention. And so that's why I love journaling so much. So, like at the beginning of the week, actually, it might have been yesterday. I don't know if I did it Monday or Tuesday. I asked, what are your big dreams and what are you going to do this week to move towards that big crazy dream? Because all you got to do is take one tiny step, right? One tiny step. So now this is a way to like this journaling tool that I'm going to give you is kind of a way to reconnect with yourself and learn what you like to do. Like if you're just like, I don't know what I want to do. Like I just don't freaking know anymore. I don't know. Or you might know, but still go through this exercise. But like before you really like move into this exercise, I really want you to like take a few deep breaths and really tune out, like no distractions, okay? And tune into that feeling. Like so for me it was when I was 8 to 10 years old. It might be a different time for you, like maybe your 20s, your 30s, or like maybe when you were a kid it wasn't like the greatest time. Maybe, you know what I mean? So like tune into that feeling when you felt like the best, when you felt free, unstoppable, inspired, happy, right? And like just tune into that feeling and then like start to like do this journaling exercise. So here we go. Write out, the first step is to write out how you felt when you woke up in the morning. Like just really think about it. Think about like a day maybe that you had that was wonderful. What were your thoughts? Like when you were gonna like have a really good day, something that you loved doing, something that gave you purpose. Like, that might be your current job. You might be very happy in your current job. Like, think about how you feel. And then how did you feel at the end of the day? How did you approach your day? What did you put into your day? Like, it's really all about that. So that's the first step. Now, I'm telling you, I know that we have responsibilities as adults and we have to get things done, right? But I'm also telling you that that's no reason to start your day in stress and overwhelm. Like just because you have a lot of shit to get done today doesn't mean you have to start your day in stress and overwhelm. It's a choice how you start your day, and it pisses people off when I say that, but it is a choice. It's your choice how you want to approach your day. For example, if you're driving into your soul-sucking job, you have a choice to be absolutely miserable and angry and beeping at people on the road and getting pissed off and being rude to the person that got your coffee for you, and or you could just choose to be happy. Like, okay, it's not your favorite job, but at least you're not there all day. And maybe listen to your favorite music, sing your favorite song in the car, like rock out in your car, or like call your favorite person or listen to a good podcast, whatever it is that you like to do. You can choose to start your day that way instead of just being like, okay, well, I have no choice. I have this job right now. I'm trying to move out of that. Like, that's what I'm trying to help you with, right? So you're trying to move out of that. um, Maybe just changing your mindset about the job will be the one thing that you need to do to just add more happiness into your life. You just never know. But that's a super simple example. It just shows you that you just really do have a choice. So that's all I wanted to show you with that example. So this is what I learned from my 8-year-old self. She's fierce. She doesn't care about the bullshit rules. As a matter of fact, she's trying to break most of them, right? Um, she's happy. She's just generally overall happy. And she starts her day like the possibilities for her are like unlimited. It's limitless. Anything can happen. She could become a rock star today. Like, so anything can happen. It's just such a good feeling. So, like, ask yourself, how can I approach my life this way every morning with like that wonder and excitement? How can I do this? So, it's really like the biggest shift. I know, like, most people don't want to hear this, but the biggest shift is just making the decision to just feel better now. Like, it's a choice. Okay? It's not perfect. Like, you could be a person that has like the shittiest things going on in their life, like just shit everywhere. But you can still choose like to take like do like a 5-minute meditation in the morning, take a deep breath. You could choose to spend 5 minutes having a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, whatever your thing is, and being grateful for what you have right now and starting your day that way instead of being like, why me? Why is this happening to me? Like, just shift, make that one mindset shift and decide, I'm going to start my day the way, like, for me, my 8-year-old self did. I'm going to start my day that way. That's a choice. Whether you think it's silly, stupid, unreasonable, whatever, I don't really give a shit what anybody thinks. I'd rather start my day with wonder and excitement of endless possibilities because to me, that's absolutely true. Anything could happen any day, right? So I'd rather start my day that way. It sounds better, right? I think it sounds better. So I want you to get a piece of paper, right? And this is the exercise to really reconnect with some of the things that you like. And this isn't necessarily about business or careers or anything. This is about the things that you like to do, okay? Like hobbies, for instance. I'll give you some examples, okay? So everything you loved to do when you were a kid. So like if I look back to when I was 8, I loved anything with running, riding my bicycle. I was very active just as I am now. Anything with that, anything with the beach. I lived on Long Island, so I spent tons and tons of time on the beach, tons of time. Anything with playing in the sand, um, anything with my stuffed animals. I used to play endlessly with my stuffed animals like they were people. Um, I had this like a very strong imagination, like, you know, stuff like that. Like that's what I liked when I was that age. Oh, I just loved being outside. I just loved it. So then you can move into your 20s. Like write it all down. So teens, kid, then do your teens, right? Okay, my teens, I loved music. I loved music. I still loved being active. Um, I was in a band. I played the guitar. I had a lot of fun. Every one of my friends, all throughout all of high school, we were all in bands. Everybody was in a band. I thought that this was just the way it was. Like there were like 3 or 4 or 5. I don't know. There were so many rock bands. Like some of those people are still in bands. They're still musicians that I knew from high school. That's all we did. It was fabulous, and I thought that was normal. And I've always been active. Okay, 30s. So 30s was when I was having kids, and this is like the tail end of my 20s and my 30s was when I really lost myself. So I was really focused on my kids, and then my 40s I started to like really kind of try to get back into myself. Like I was running and doing stuff outside. I still wasn't spending a lot of time outside, but there were like, there's these commonalities all throughout your life. So write everything down you can think of, just everything, even if it sounds unimportant. You know, like I loved watching movies, you know, or whatever. Just write whatever thing, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s. I don't know how old everybody is. Just keep on writing it down. Then look at all your answers and circle or like highlight anything that is in common. Like if there's like an overwhelming theme where, like with me, I was always active, 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 active. I rode my bike, ran, rode my bike, rode my bike, whatever. I like to be outside, 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 gardening, gardening, whatever. Okay, like all these overwhelming themes. Reading was a big thing for me. Reading, um, and then ask yourself, are you doing any of these things now? Okay? Because if you're feeling very stuck and lost, it's very likely that you're not doing a lot of things that bring you joy, right? So, this is really about looking at all those things that you used to do or that you've done throughout your life and figuring out if you're doing any of those things now. And if you're not, how can you start adding some of those things back into your life? So it might be a different form. Like, I'm not going to, play with my stuffed animals, but I have dogs now. So I don't need stuffed animals. Yeah, I was going to be a vet when I was a little girl. That lasted for a little while. Then I was, of course, going to be a rock star. But so, like, there's all these just like commonalities. Like, what can you squeeze into your life right now that's going to make you like so freaking happy? Okay. Now, I completely reconnected with myself. It took me years to do this. So, like, don't put a lot of pressure on yourself. It took me a couple of years, but it was like a gradual thing. You add one thing today, and then, like, gradually, you just, like, start adding more and more things that make you happy, and eventually I switched careers to something that makes me happy. I switched careers to something that gives me purpose, something that I feel is my purpose, right? So, how, like, so I love this exercise, first of all, because it's just fun. It's fun, like, thinking about all those things that you used to do. And then there's one last part. So, like, you're like, Tina, I can't, I have no time. I have no freaking time. And I'm just like, just thinking about adding, all right, I'm going to make something up. Gardening. Just thinking about adding gardening into my life sounds like it's too much, and I get stressed out just thinking about it because I have no time. I have to do this and this and this and this. And I would say to you that you do have to make time. And my God, I hate to like sound like a commercial right now, but in my course, Aligned and Worthy, I teach you how to create that time and space. It's about what it's about being really intentional with the time you have, taking a look at what you're doing and where you're spending your time. Okay, because like I don't know if it was the last episode or the episode before, I talked about that. Like, what am I doing all day? What am I spending my time doing? Why am I so busy? Where can I cut something out? Ditch, delegate, do. I taught you about, like, that was the last episode. So if you want to like learn more about that, you could watch that episode. So it's about really being more intentional about your time and creating that space. And it's about making time for yourself. Like I said at the beginning, putting yourself first so that you can put your best self into the world. Because if you're miserable and you're just spending like 95% of your time doing crap for everybody else and you're not doing anything for yourself to have fun, holy, that's really bright. Let me close that blind. Okay. Now I just have stripes on my face, but that's okay. Um, then what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Um, oh, so if you're miserable, if you're not doing anything for yourself, it's really hard for you to put your best self out into the world and like reconnect with your passions and your purpose when you're just like exhausted and not having any fun. So like this is like you have to make time for this stuff. You have to make it. Like figure it out. What can you ditch? What can you delegate? And what do you have to do? Like really like be intentional with your time. Those are excuses, okay? Now you also might say, Tina, I'm too old, okay? Or you might say I'm too young. Or you might say, I don't have the money. Or you might say, whatever. These are excuses. So the next step of this exercise is to, whatever's coming up, whatever you're telling yourself the reason is that you can't do this, whether it be time, too old, too young, don't have enough money, blah, 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 whatever those excuses are, you're going to look at those excuses and you're going to say, is this really true? Like, ask yourself the question, is this really true? Because the only thing that's making that true is you're making that true. So you might say, Tina, no, I really don't have any money to start my gardening hobby. Well, you really don't need a lot of money to start a gardening hobby. Like you may be thinking, oh, I want this gigantic, you know, 50-foot by 50-foot garden, and I have to get compost, and I have to get a rototiller, and oh yeah, I have to get seeds and plants, and I have to put a fence up because the deer are going to eat everything. Yeah, that could be overwhelming, but if you're just getting started, you could buy like like just a plant holder, like a pot, and put a tomato plant in it, and then maybe another pot and put a basil plant in it, and you can make sauce at the end of the season, and that's your starting point. Like, you don't have to like go big or go home. Just, it's like taking these small steps. Like, I think I posted something yesterday or today on my Facebook page saying, like, you can have big dreams and you can take tiny steps. It's just about keeping yourself moving, because tiny steps create big changes in your life. So try to think smaller if you don't think it's possible. If you're like, I'm too old, I've always wanted to run a marathon and I'm too old, well, that's bullshit. You could walk a marathon. You could walk it. I've seen people do this. I've seen people walk-run. I've seen people beat me walk-running while I run the whole time. So it's like, it's possible. Like, you just have to you just have to like take the first step. Just take the first step. So the last part is the hardest. The part where you like have all the excuses and you're like, how can I prove that wrong? If you need help with that, just reach out to me. I could definitely reverse any negative excuse, or we can call them blocks, we can call them limiting beliefs, we can call them excuses, we can call them whatever you want. It's all the same. It's like all in your head. So I definitely, I'm really good at this. And the reason I'm really good at this is because I am the queen of limiting beliefs and excuses. I lived in victim mode for like 10 freaking years. So I know all the excuses. I know how to get out of that. I know how to get out of it. It's really hard. And I feel for anybody who feels really stuck, but this is you just got to take little steps to get out of it. So like I said, the last part's the hardest, but after you start doing the things that you love again, it reignites your spark. Like, you start getting more inspired. Okay. So I'm talking about like my kid self. And when I went into this, I really went into it. Like, I went into my parents' photo albums and I found pictures of myself so that I could look at, so I could really say, I remember this. I remember when I had this haircut. I remember when I had that bicycle with the banana seat and the little thing on the back that you could hold on to. Like, you could share the seat with someone and they would hold on to the back of that. And I had the basket on the front with the flowers, and I used to ride as fast as I could down the road, and then I would put the brakes on. Remember those kid bikes where you just like have to pedal backwards for the brakes, and then like slide in the sand, like see how far you could slide, because on Long Island it was sand, it wasn't dirt. That took me a long time to get used to that when I moved off Long Island. Long Island was just sand, like beach sand everywhere on the roads and everything. But like up here, everything's like dirt. At least where I lived, it was sand. So anyway, I double dare you to start doing these things on your list. Like, yeah, I double dare you. Like, as my 8-year-old self, I double dare you. Like I said, I tuned into it. Like, I have these pictures on my desk behind me. I have a glass top that goes over my desk, and under the glass top, I have pictures of myself at every age. If I could pick up the camera, I would show you. I was pretty dorky. I have some pretty dorky pictures. I even had a Sean Cassidy like haircut at one point. Like I was really dorky. Um, but I've tuned into that. Like, how did I feel when I was this age? How did I feel when I was this age? When did I start feeling that insecurity, like that I wasn't, like I really like tuned into it to try to figure this out, to try to like reignite that passion in myself. And this exercise is, it's a really simple one. It's a fun one. But when you get to like the limiting beliefs or the blocks part, that's where you have to work hard. And then after you figure out how to disprove this, like I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, I'm too old, I'm too young, right? After you figure out how to prove yourself wrong, right? Then I want you to write a statement that said that disproves it wrong. So like if you said, I don't have enough money to start my gardening, like, or I'm too old to run a marathon. I'm too old to run a marathon. You could just say, that's not true. This person did it. This person did it. Find people who did it. Find a program, a training program at the local gym, or find a friend who's a runner. So say you like, I have no money. Like, find a friend who's a runner that's willing to run with you and help you train for this half marathon. There are plenty of older people that are like amazing runners because I know this. I've always belonged to the running community, and I know so many people that are older than me that can just like hand me my ass run on a running horse. Okay, so like there's so many people. So like you could prove that wrong very easily, and then you could move into um, I'm a strong, powerful woman, and with time and practice, I can run a half marathon. Right? With time to practice, with small steps every day, I can run a half marathon. So you can just like make a more empowering belief. And then when you start to doubt yourself, when you're in it and you start to doubt yourself, you could just like remind yourself of how you proved that wrong, and you do know that you're strong and that you're powerful, and that with every little step that you take, you move closer to that dream, right? That's it. So, um, so I'm going to share with you. I shared this in my blog, so I'll share it with you here too. Like one of my dreams. So like all throughout when I was a kid, up until I started going to like junior high school, I think, I was a huge reader. Like I read a lot and I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I always dreamed of being like a famous author. I remember reading like Pippi Longstocking. I don't know if you guys remember that series, and thinking I'm going to write a book series like this, and I'm going to be famous, and I'm going to be like I used to think about it all the time. And then I got really into poetry thanks to one of my teachers in elementary school. I remember getting into poetry, like dark poetry, like Edgar Allan Poe, um, and memorizing the poems and thinking I'm going to, write poems. And I was very inspired. And then when my life started to get like more complicated, and then once I had kids, I just wasn't reading a lot. I didn't, like I said, I was one of those people who never made time for myself. I always felt like I had to work, 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 and do for everybody else. um, and the reason I felt that way is like a whole nother episode, but I just didn't feel worthy of anything unless I worked hard for it, right? So that's what I always felt like. And I just stopped reading. And then I started reading again, like in my 40s, going into my 50s, and I read a lot. I mean, I have a book club now. I'm always reading at least 5 books at once. I love reading, and so like my big dream was to write the book. So now I'm writing the book. I'm sharing. That's like my big dream. I never thought I'm not like this excellent writer, right? I remember when I started writing my blog, it was terrible. Like it was terrible, and like my father used to read my blog and like make corrections. I still make a lot of grammatical mistakes. I really do, but I don't really give a shit. Like I really don't. I want it to be somewhat professional. I try not to make mistakes. It's like I do try, but if one slips through, I don't care. Like some people really care. I just don't care. Now, so writing a book, I never thought was like something that was super possible for me. Like I didn't think that it was something I would ever do, and I just thought that I wasn't a good enough writer. I make too many mistakes, blah blah blah. I had like many excuses, just like I said. But I've seen so many fellow coaches of mine write books. I know so many people now that have wrote books, and you can self-publish books now. Like, so it's so great. You could write a book, self-publish it, sell it. Like, it's fantastic. It's like the easiest time to write a book and put it out there. So I'm writing a book, and I'm going to be launching it next year on my birthday, which is October 24th. So don't forget to wish me a happy birthday. And so next year, so you'll be hearing about it. But that's my big dream. And I know I don't have to worry about how I'm going to launch it. I don't have to worry about if anybody is going to buy it. I don't have to worry about anything except what the next step is. So I like just started it. I just started it. I've written out the outline, and now I'm starting to like structure like the chapters. Like, I don't know if this is the way most people write books, but this is the way I'm doing it. It's like this is the way it works in my brain. So that's my next step. I haven't written anything or watched anything to learn how to do this. If I get stuck, that's when I'll ask for help. But right now, what I'm doing feels good. So that's my next step. Okay. So let's see. Let me look at my notes. Okay, that's it. All right. Look at that. That's it for today. Yay. So reconnect with the things that you want. I would love to hear from you. So like if you're willing to share, like if you had like this aha moment where you were like, this is the time period and this is how I felt. And yes, I want to feel this way again. And these are some of the things that I did. And these are the things that I had in common all throughout my life. And I'm gonna add this into my. I want to hear about it. I want to hear if you're gonna add something into your life. Okay. Um, Let me think. To be, oh yeah, definitely start to be intentional with your time. So if you're feeling like you don't have time, start to be intentional. Start like really thinking about what you're doing from a moment to moment, and ask yourself, is this working me towards what I want, or is this dragging me away? Is this draining me, right? So just ask that. And then decide, make the choice to decide to live your life in the state of wonder, in the state of inspiration, in a state of unlimited possibilities. Because if you make the choice to live this way, that's what life is going to present to you. So what you focus on expands. Okay, where you put your focus, that's where you're going to be drawn. So why not, like, it's going to happen anyway. So why not think of wonderful possibilities, unlimited possibilities, instead of thinking about starting your day with like dread, like, because what you think about just keeps coming towards you, right? So make the decision. It's a choice. Remember that. Um, I'll see you next week. I'm going to talk more about like your big dreams. So it might be like a short one because it's really there is like a way to move into the mindset of dreaming big, to help you wrap your head around it, so that you don't feel like you're being silly. Okay, although I don't think there's anything wrong with being silly, but I want you to be able to dream big and believe that you can have it. That's a good way to say it. I want you to be able to believe that that's possible for yourself. So that's more about that. I'll probably go into that more next week. So, like I said, share with me what you're going to start adding back into your life. I would love to hear about that. If you have any questions or if you need help with a limiting belief, feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, October is Aligned and Worthy Month, which is the Soul Aligned Self Care Boot Camp, where I go over 11 different deep level self care and mindset practices to teach you how to live, dream big, live with your purpose, but do it in a way so you don't get like burnt out, stressed out, or overwhelmed. Okay. So if you're interested in that, I will, you know what, if you're interested in Aligned and Worthy, I'm going to be talking about it all month. Definitely reach out to me. I'll put it in the show notes on my podcast. I could put the link so you could check it out right now. I'll put the link in the comments for you so you could look at it and learn what's inside of that program. And you can learn about how much it costs. There is a payment plan. And yes, the cost is going to go up next year in February when I do the February launch. Okay, that's it for today. Mwah, I love you. I'll see you next week. Bye. I have so many alerts on my screen. Oh my goodness. I can't even log off. Okay, bye for real this time.